today joining us is clinical psychologist Dr. Kenzslowe to help us kind of manage all of this back to school stress. She specializes in anxiety, trauma, and PTSD. Great to see you.
Well, there's some grief, right? So typically we have this fabulous, wonderful summer where we get to go outside and hang out and be with our friends. And that hasn't been this summer. And so now we're having this trepidation on what will school look like when I go back. Will I get to be able to hug my friend? Will I be able to sit and have lunch with them? What is it going to look like when we're talking about social distancing and staying apart from one another? That has to be tough. So
now, with all that in mind, I want you to think about your typical white middle-class family in the early 70s. Not quite happy days, definitely not Leave It to Beaver. The 17-year-old girl, she meets the love of her life. They begin to go steady. About a year later, they become pregnant, they get married in that order. And about 9 days before her 19th birthday, she gives birth to a beautiful baby girl. I want you to picture yourself being that baby, and the color of your skin is what tore your mother's family apart. You see, that baby was me.
Future. ABC 15 and Sonora Living, we are so committed to helping you and your family really help manage all of the anxiety that we're feeling during this unprecedented time. And I'm so excited to be joined by Dr. Kenzslowe. She is a clinical psychologist who specializes in anxiety, trauma, and PTSD. I understand you.
Thank you so much first for having me. The first thing that we should really keep in mind are our thoughts. Oftentimes when we have what if thoughts about the future, what if thoughts that move us into doom or gloom or into uncertainty, that's what activates our fight, flight, freeze system in our body. And that's when we start to feel those physiological responses to anxiety. So if we're able to control our thoughts, to really be mindful of what we're thinking, then we can help to keep the stress response that our body goes into down to a minimum.
Of our life. And then to top it off, it's the holiday season, right? So it's time to start thinking about parties and gifts, and do I have everything that I need in order to get everything done that I want to get done? So there's this thing called eustress. Has anyone ever heard of eustress before? Okay, one person. So eustress is that good kind of stress, right? So it's that kind of stress that I may be feeling right now by being able to stand up here and speaking in front of you all. It's something that gets us going. It gives us that little bit of edge to where we're doing what we do well, right? Have you ever then experienced eustress when you're on your game and you're doing, that's eustress, right? That's that good energy that you get. Then there's stress, right? There's that, oh my gosh, can I get everything done? I don't know. This is, that's the stress we don't want, right? That's not what we want to experience.
So some of the things we can do is help as adults manage our own anxiety, work on skills and tools so that way we're not catastrophizing on the what ifs. As we're managing our own anxiety, then we're able to provide reassurance to our children, to our students, that things are going to be okay. It's going to be different, but it's going to be okay. I think it's always worth having a conversation. One, we want to know how our children are feeling. Maybe the parent is saying, hey, go back to school, and the child is saying, I don't know if I'm comfortable. So there's some things we can do that's age appropriate. And it's something that we likely want to do continuously, if not every day, but on a day-to-day basis.
That's awesome. That was so clear. That's really great information. Really great advice. All right, let's talk a little bit about how we as parents can keep from maybe inflicting additional stress on our kids.
So one of the things we can do, stick to routine. So summer is about to be over. And again, traditionally in summers, we don't have routines, right? We let the kids do whatever they want. And so when school starts, whether it's online, whether it's some type of distance learning, or whether it is that they're going back into a physical environment, have a routine. What time do we wake up? What time do we have breakfast? If we're at home, what time are we focusing on learning? What time is our social time where we can do things like this, video chatting with our friends, right? And then what time are we having dinner and what time are we going to bed? That way we're mitigating as much uncertainty as possible. While I may not know when I'm going to physically be able to go back to school or physically be able to see my friends, I know what my life is going to look like on a day-to-day basis. It's highly important.
Yes, routine. I re-interviewed you, that one of the first folks we interviewed, and you talked about routine, and I've listened every single day. I do the same thing just to keep me consistent, and I tell my kids to do the same thing as well. Great advice, as always, Dr. Kenzslowe. Thank you so much.
Let's go ahead and bring in our very own doctor, psychologist, working with our military. We honor her for that. She's a veteran herself, lived across the world doing great things, an amazing mom. I mean, her life journey has just been really next level, and then went on to get her doctorate in psychology so that she could connect with other people and help them through their journeys as well. All of this says so much about this amazing woman, but even more than just having the information, more than having a great background in history, she got the spirit to go with it, and that is why we all connect with Dr. Angela so well. So this is Dr. Angela Kenzslowe.